I'm a game developer, an indie game developer to be exact, and for about a year now, I started this indie game studio called CozyCat Games with a few of my friends, and we're building a cozy game. But I want to talk about today my philosophy behind this studio and where I see the gaming landscape evolving in the next few years, in the next decade or so, as people that haven't historically been gamers start to become gamers, as it becomes more in the mainstream, and where I want to position myself and my whole philosophy behind this studio that we're starting out. And hopefully this can spark some sort of conversation in the comments below. I would love to hear everyone else's thoughts about this topic, cozy gaming, where it plays into gaming culture. But first, if you're new to the channel, hello there, my name is Helena and I'm the studio director of this indie game studio called CozyCat Games, where we're currently developing a cozy baking game called Madame Fifi's Bakery, which has a free demo that you can play on Steam and wishlist. It really helps us out. And in the spirit of Halloween and the changing of months, I come to you from my new apartment. I know I changed again locations, but I'm a very sporadic changer, as you'll get to see over the next however many months I make videos or years. So yeah, let's talk about this today, my philosophy behind making games and consuming games. First of all, this is a very interesting theme for me to talk about. Cozy games are made targeted to women and people in the LGBT community. Okay, I say that in quotations because it's a generalization. And this is something that I'm being very careful about saying, because in saying this, what I'm trying to do is to encourage more girls to get into gaming and encourage people that haven't historically been gaming and thinking that it's just a boys club, or that if you are a gamer girl that you have to wear those like cat ears and like be like edgy and stuff. Like, no, you can be like just a cozy, comfortable, like just in your sweatpants and play video games as a girl. And it doesn't have to be challenging and hard. That's what I'm trying to do when I say that. But I understand that if I say I want to make games for girls, that I alienate guys. And that's a really slippery slope that I can go down. And I want to be just super honest about it. So I've noticed a few times that when I say like, hey, I want to make games for girls, like guys are like, oh, but what about me? I like your game too. And I'm a guy. I'm not in the LGBT community. I'm just a guy. So, I think that it's more than just making games for girls. It's making games for people who haven't been gamers because they don't know what gaming is. Because gaming to me is a gender neutral category. It's something that you need a mouse and a keyboard to do. It doesn't take any amount of physical strength to do. And it's just a means of storytelling and interacting, just like reading a book or watching a movie. Why would that be gendered? That's always been my perspective. Ever since I was a kid, I was playing Pokemon and whatever, everything else. And I never understood why one gender would prefer it over the other. Never crossed my mind. So as I progressed into adulthood, I was like, oh, okay, I guess this is a thing. But I never had that perspective. But I see how it would be that perspective, especially when I see like gaming is shooting games, especially for people who haven't grown up with video games. They never thought it could be for them. So my philosophy with cozy games especially is that it's another genre of what gaming can be that hasn't ever been explored, and would typically more lean itself to people that haven't been gamers, aka like a lot of women such as my sister, or like people like that haven't been shown that gaming can be for them. But in doing so, I really want to stress that I'm not trying to alienate guys who like cozy games, because there's like nothing like that's totally normal. Just like girls liking shooting games is totally normal. You can like either. It doesn't matter your gender. Just overall, like a lot of women would like that stuff. So that's something that's really hard for me to wrap and communicate, especially as someone that's like representing the studio. Trying to communicate that going forward is hard. As a studio, I really want to create good quality games, because I believe personally that better quality games are made by smaller teams of people. That is because I think that in big studios, a lot of the times the meaning of the game, the core meaning of the game, can be lost in the logistics of just it being a AAA, and that so many people feel like they're a replaceable like cog in the machine, that I've heard from people that work in AAA. And in indie, oftentimes, because everyone gets their hands on everything, it feels a lot more personal, and people's souls really go into these projects. So I really strongly believe that small teams can create great quality games. That being said, we are a beginner studio. This is all, well, it's not any of our first project, but it's our first project together. So we're learning what it means to make a good quality game. So unfortunately, the quality of where we want to be is not where we are as of yet, but you kind of need to get past that beginner stage before getting really good. And we're doing that right now, and we can't be afraid to put something that we're not necessarily fully satisfied with, because you need to put something out that you're not satisfied with in order to become better. So that's why this whole thing of putting demos out and getting people's feedback is so crucial and so important to us, because we get to see, okay, this game that maybe we're not the most satisfied with the demo, at least we made something. At least we made something that over this amount of time, and we tried and we got our hands dirty and we did it. And we get to learn from people actually playing it. This part wasn't so good, this part was good, so that we can adapt it and make a game that people truly enjoy playing. And that's what quality is. Quality is attention to detail, listening to player feedback, making something with soul and heart. And that's why I think that the more and more time that goes by, studios naturally make better games, because they get a better sense of what people want to see and what people enjoy the most. So yeah, we are a beginner studio, but we want to make quality games that people want to play and escape when you've come home from a hard day at work or at school and you want to connect to a world of people that care about you. Like in Madame Fifi's Bakery, you connect to these animals that have their own stories that kind of parallel some stories that maybe you've lived through, and you feel this community when in real life maybe you don't have that community, and it's a place of safety and warmth and comfort. Just like if you're sitting in your sweatpants in bed with your stuffed animal. You know what I mean? That's the kind of vibe that we're giving. Madame Fifi's Bakery is just the beginning. We want to create many titles. I don't want to say the titles that we have in mind, but we have some pretty good ones so far. If you watch my video about the devlog of the entire year of making Madame Fifi's Bakery, you're going to see some of the other ideas for games, and some of those we do want to revisit. But as a studio, I personally would love to scale it in a way that feels authentic and natural, and still preserving that indie spirit, and having multiple games under the umbrella of CozyCat Games. I'm still looking what that would mean, but I don't want to do the typical traditional indie route where it's like one game is being developed at a time. I don't really know what that looks like right now, and obviously time will tell, but I have ideas for like something bigger. I want CozyCat Games to be really something, a staple in the industry. I really want it to be something that's like having a bigger impact than just one game at a time. Not that that wouldn't create a big impact, but I want it to, down the line, I want it to feel like a AAA studio, if that makes sense. And I'm putting that out there now. Obviously we are indie, but I think there's something to be said about creating AAA quality games in an indie studio, but with the resources of a AAA studio. I want to scale to something that would feel like a AAA studio while preserving the spirit of an indie game. So I'm looking what that feels like for me, but that's something I'm really passionate about. And as I'm going through this journey of entrepreneurship with this studio and managing a team and everything like that, it's something that is feeling more possible every single day. So we'll see how it goes throughout the next few months and years. Those are the main points that I could think of off the top of my head. Please let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts about this whole idea of the cozy gaming market, how it's opened up a floodgate of new types of games to be emerged, and how we can create games for non-gamers, women, and people that haven't historically had games made for them without alienating guys, because the goal is to be inclusive of everyone. It's about creating a fun place to play for everyone. So yeah, these are my thoughts. Let me know in the comments. I always love talking to you guys down there, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good Halloween. Bye.